Good goes everybody, because here we'll continue on with a game called Katawa Shoujo. Where were we? Let's see, June. Here? Were we at lunch? Yeah, I guess it is. The ring of the bell ends your conversation. Guess we better go. Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Rin, you too. Rin was apparently begun to doze off, so Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it. Sorry, but you need to go to class. I disagree, but maybe if I nap at class, I'll get it this time. Changing location is sometimes helpful for that kind of thing. Neither Emmy or I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway, Rin in tow. I turn to enter the classroom to be met by the duo of Shizune and Misha. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep up from breaking into a fit of giggles while she translates Shizune's latest rant. While we are pleased, nay thrilled to see how well you've managed to make new friends and forge relationships, and with such a cutie too, Hee-chan. I think that last part was probably Misha. We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really? That's disappointing, Hee-chan, by Section 8 of the Code of Conduct laid out in the student handbook. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse, as we are feeling lenient. And the paperwork required to punish the both of you would only add to the already mountainous volume of work which confronts us, the sole members of the student council, and besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning, and please refrain from such displays in the future, at least when Shizune can see you, Hee-chan. This whole spiel is patently ridiculous that I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I for one feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions and will strive to contain my baser impulses, which I fear impel me towards such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty matters. I will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future. At least when Shizune is watching. The last line is delivered with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter. Wahaha. Well said, Hee-chan. Chuckling a little myself, we enter the classroom. Class is uneventful, and after the final bell rings, I find myself alone with Muto again. So it looks like we've all assembled for the second meeting of the science club. Or is it the first? What do you think? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Well, we did form the club yesterday, didn't we? That seems like club business, so we can safely call yesterday a meeting. Mura smiles in his usual stilted and awkwardly way. I wonder if the muscles in his face are just not shaped correctly to let him smile naturally. You really do have a knack for this, I think. Logical thought processes, that is. I guess so. A scientist speaks with authority, Hisao. The answer here is, yes I do. When the world wants to know how it works, we tell it, even if all we've got is a decent hypothesis. But we must sound certain anyway, because we're the authorities on the subject, right? He chuckles to go along with his awkward smile at his awkward joke. I'm doing my best not to grimace, but I don't think I'm being too successful. That's entirely false, of course. We know a lot, sure, but nobody's an expert on how the world works, if only because nobody can be sure. With no certainty, there are no experts. But we like to pretend sometimes. There's some things we can be certain of, right? Yes, but no. We know gravity is there, for example. To illustrate, Muta picks up a pencil and drops it. See? Still there, but it's good to check every once in a while. That's why you'll still see researchers mucking about with gravity. We're pretty sure we know how it works, but there's always a chance that something isn't how we think it is. So you check and check and check. That's science in a nutshell, Hisao. The whole time I've listened feeling rather spellbound. Muta seems to really be passionate about this stuff. I think it's hard to tell sometimes. How the world works. How humans work. How the universe works. All these questions to be answered. Depending on what I go into, maybe I could even figure out a way to fix my heart. That said, I don't think that's a real priority for me. Besides, as we start discussing the book he gave me yesterday, I find myself more and more interested in that than my heart condition. Before we even realize it, an hour's gone by. Well, let's call this meeting over for now, okay? We'll have another meeting tomorrow, the day after. He considers this for a moment. Call it the day after. I've got a lot of grading to do. Okay, see you then. As I exit the classroom, I realize that I don't really have anything to do tonight. I mean, I didn't make plans, so guess I'll go to the library. It beats doing homework in my room anyway. The library seems cooler than the rest of the building, probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in good condition, it takes a little effort. Got several books that are so well worn, the pages are barely clinging to the spine. It seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care. I make my way to the main desk, where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves. Hello, Hisao. Good to see you again. What are you looking for this time? Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room is all. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you could help me look for something. Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings her finger to her lips and looks around furtively. There you go. She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers. Come closer. I take a few hesitant steps forward while feeling distinctly unnerved. Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper. I'm on the trail of the Yumaku cat burglar. The what? Shush, the walls have ears, Hisao. Or they might. But listen, those missing books, remember them? I don't, because they're missing. How am I supposed to? I mean, yeah. Well, they weren't missing. They were stolen. I'm convinced of it. I remember you saying something of that sort earlier, but how do you know? Yuko leans in closer and, if possible, whispers even lower. Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? Yuko looks triumphant. Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. 3 books I've been looking for, all there. I'd suspected the thief before, but this proves it. Was it Kenji? So, did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I've just suggested she walk around naked. Are you nuts? He can't know I'm onto him. He might go to ground and evade capture. So what do you need my help with then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got to spy for me. Spy? Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know. Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, but I'll wager he barely goes to class, which much less sneaks into the library to pilfer books. Still, what's the harm in saying yeah? At least that'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. Yuka straightens up and claps excitedly. Great. Now hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you? Yeah, pretty well actually. I've been running in the mornings with Emi Ibarazaki, right? Yeah. How'd you know? I served you two in the tea house, remember? I deduced that if you were going to run with anyone, it would probably be her. She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Anyway, yeah, we've been running in the mornings. And we kinda started dating. Yuka claps her hands together excitedly. Really? That's great. I'll bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know. I even thought to myself, when you walk into this Shanghai that one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls. Really? Yuko doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I could tell that you'd wind up with one of them, you know. I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Of course. Her expression droops slightly. I'm not so good at it myself. I'm sure that's not true. Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day, and I've not seen him since then. Huh, that does seem kinda odd. Doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. I intend to try to calm her down further, but the both of us jump in surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko tries to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. Emmy, what's up? Oh, thank God, I haven't called your phone before, so I didn't know if this number would work or whether you would pick up, and I can't. Whoa there, Emmy, slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line, during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Somebody's got her terribly agitated, and it's starting to agitate me. Can you stop by? Like now or shortly after now? I really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence that I don't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I've apparently started saying things that don't quite make sense. Okay, I'll be okay. See you soon. I pressed the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket. Apologized to Yuko for running off and run off. Perhaps at some point I would have stopped to think about the time, or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter the girl's dorm at this hour. Except right now, I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock at the door and greet her with the subdued, "Come in." Something is very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yeah, but she's in a wheelchair, and her legs are missing. I glance around the room and see them sitting in a corner, looking like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin that is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken. Hi, Hisao. It looks like she's been crying, but if she was, she stopped now. I notice that I'm a little out of breath, having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't seem to mind the strain, though. I've filed this happy fact away for later consideration. Like, when am I not staring somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair? Realizing I've still not responded to her greeting, my brain lurches into gear. Emmy, what happened? Guess I should have listened to you, Hisao. My legs got a nasty infection. I'm not allowed to run on it for at least a couple of weeks. She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her. I can't even walk on it. I could have used a crutch and kept one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop? You can't run on one leg. At least this way I could still, I don't know, roll fast or something? Yeah, that's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really affected. Emmy shrugs again. It's just kind of a nuisance. I mean, we can't even eat up on the roof now. No wheelchair access. Yeah, but that's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together, and that's the important thing. That lopsided grin again. It hurts to look at. I suppose so, yeah. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in... She thinks for a minute. Maybe 7 years? Something like that anyway. A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice. Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods. Oh yeah, of course. It's not like I've lost him permanently. But it's a pain in the ass all the same. I nod sympathetically. There's not much else I can do after all. What am I gonna do, say, told you so? Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. But by the time I noticed, it was too late anyway. Do you need help with anything? That is, can I help you with anything? That is, can I help with anything? Amy shakes her head, and there's a bit of her usual grin back. Nah, I can manage fine by myself. Although if you want to help me over to my bed, it would save me the trouble of rolling over there myself. I blush in spite of myself. Emmy giggles. You're such a prude, Isao. I'm not a prude, I just wouldn't want to take advantage of a young woman such as yourself. It's ungentlemanly. I wheel Emmy's chair to her bed and easily scoop her up and deposit her there. She quickly sorts herself out and sits on the side. She's actually a little heavier than she looks. It would be rude of me to observe this aloud, of course. Man, you're kinda heavy. Emmy hits me with a pillow. Ass. Just say, that's all. Must be all that running. As the mention of running, Emmy's grin falters slightly. Well, I guess I won't have to worry about that for a bit, huh? Maybe I'll lose some weight. That's what you do to lose weight, right? Cease physical activity? Pretty sure that's what the nurse would recommend. Speaking of which, are you going to still be showing up in the mornings? I'd hate to run along. Ah, shit. Emmy's sudden interjection, more of a disquieted muttering than anything too profane, causes me to look over in shock. She's leaning forward, trying to cover the fact that she's crying by covering her eyes with a hand. Of course, the subdued sobbing makes it pretty obvious that she's crying. Hey, I'm sorry. Forget I said anything, okay? I place a hand gingerly around her and pull her close. I can think of nothing else to say or do. How do you comfort someone who's just lost their legs again? God damn. Amy wraps me in a hug and stays that way for a while. Sorry. Pretty bad at this whole comforting thing, I guess. Don't say that. I'm fine, really. Her voice is slightly muffled by my chest. I pat her head reassuringly. That's the spirit, right? You'll get through this fine, I know it. Besides, I'm here to help you, remember? Amy lifts her head and stares at me with tear-stained eyes. Can you? Can you really? She's grinning lopsidedly, and something sparkles in her gaze. I can't tell if I'm being mocked or not. Of course, I mean, I'm sure you're a bit heavy, but... My witty comment is cut off by the sudden press of Emmy's lips on mine. I'm caught off guard, and am rewarded by hitting my head on the wall behind her bed. Ow! Emmy pulls back, trying to look concerned rather than like she's about to laugh. Are you okay? Sorry. I rub my head ruefully and grin back at her. Caught me off guard there. Is that going to become a habit? Am I going to be lectured by Shizune and Misha more? At the mention of the duo, Emmy giggles. Honestly, those two? If I didn't know why, I'd be utterly confused as to why she hangs around with someone so bossy. Which one are we talking about? You know exactly which one, Hisao. Misha's hardly bossy. So what's the reason then? Huh? The reason why Misha hangs around Shizune? Amy waves my question off with a smile. No idea. I see. Anyway, you seem to be forgetting the original question, don't you? Oh yeah, I guess I am. You wouldn't mind giving a guy a little warning, would you? Otherwise, I'm liable to wind up with a concussion. I emphasize the point by rubbing at the back of my head. Amy giggles madly. You could wear a helmet. Some kids here do, you know. Or I could just take revenge. Grab a pillow from beside me and whack Emmy over the head. Emmy topples off the bed and lands on the floor with a thump. Her arms promptly reappear on the bed and she manages to pull herself back up. She really has a surprising amount of strength in that little body. Her face is turned downwards and away from mine, making me think I might have accidentally hurt her. Emmy, you okay? You didn't hit you. A hand shoots up and grabs my collar. She pulls me in with a sharp tug, her face now barely an inch away from mine as she grins cheekily. Emmy? She gives me a sharp headbutt, our foreheads making quite a loud thud. I sit back and rub my now sore head as Emmy smirks victoriously. How's that for revenge? No fair. You can't take revenge for revenge. For someone missing most of her legs, Emmy's surprisingly agile. I swipe at her, but she definitely rolls out of the way and lands a hit with her pillow. Of course, the odds are against her. I can't stand up for starters. Oof. What the hell? Uh-oh. The heart thingy. Here we go. Am I going to die now? Well, I lived a good life. Man, this visual novel is so awesome. The sunlight breaks through my window short before my alarm ruins the morning silence. I feel sore. The events of the previous evening suddenly intrude upon my consciousness, and I find myself blushing. That was an eventful evening. It explains perfectly the soreness in my lower back. The walk back, as I recall, had been rather tense. Fortunately for me, the only person I ran into on my way back was Kenji, and he didn't notice a thing. Well, apart from my being in the general vicinity, of course he'd asked how the night went and whether or not I'd learned anything of importance. I don't even know if I opened my mouth to answer. I was too tired to care. This morning I'll admit that I'm feeling pretty worn out. Still, Emmy had promised to meet me at the track, and I'd hate to disappoint. Oh wait, she's still there. She is indeed waiting for me when I arrive, doing her best to look cheery despite the fact that she's sitting in a wheelchair. I waved to her and began stretching. You're early. Emmy frowns and shakes her head. Ridiculous. You're late. Overslept, Sal? All tuckered out? Well, at least she seems more like her old self. And as expected, she doesn't seem that shy about mentioning our previous activities. Hey, you're lucky I could show up at all. All that cardiovascular activity last night, I nearly thought I'd have to see the nurse afterwards. Emmy laughs out loud, then her face suddenly becomes concerned. Hey, that's not you're not... Go on, spit it out. It's just that it would be hard to explain if you had an episode while we were... No. Oh. Now that she mentions it, it really is a legitimate concern. I certainly hadn't thought of it last night, of course. Other, more pressing concerns had been at hand. Well, I don't think anything we do was going to be any more of a strain than these morning runs, and I handle those fine, so... Emmy considers this point. A devious light appears in her eyes. Say, The light vanishes and Emmy grins ruefully at me. Can't help but feel vaguely suspicious. I seem to have forgotten a pair of gloves. What do you need gloves for? Emmy indicates the chair upon which she is seated. For this, of course. Sure, regular moving around is all well and good without them, but I want to be able to get a good workout. And to get that kind of speed, you gotta have gloves if you don't want blisters. So what are you wussing out? So what? Are you wussing out on me then? Do I have to go it alone? Emmy thinks for a minute and pretends to think. If I remember right, there's a spare pair or two in the track shed. So she does seriously want to do it then. But in her normal school uniform, I'd have expected her to wear her gym outfit for something like this. Wait, what are they doing there? Emmy looks askance at me. What's that word? Askance? Seriously? You can't think of why I should pull out track supplies at a school for the disabled would have racing gloves? Well, when she puts it that way, I suppose that makes perfect sense. But what about the infection and stuff? What about the sweat and stuff? Hey, I'm still getting used to this place. Give me a break, huh? I guess I can let it slide this time. Now, come on, I'll need your help. I can't imagine what for, but then again, I didn't have any clue why racing gloves would be in the shed, so I'm not willing to press the issue. Emmy navigates her way to the shed easily enough, though I can hear her grumbling under her breath. She's actually kind of cute. I hurry a little to reach the door first. Opening it will be easier for me than for her. The door opens and Emmy starts to wheel inside, only to come to a sudden halt at the doorway. It seems the door sill is slightly too high for her to get over by herself. She makes a few runs at it unsuccessfully before crossing her eyes and glaring at the offending object. Stupid wheelchair. Hey Sao, can you give me a hand here? Sure, no problem. Do you want my legs as well? Haha. It's a simple enough matter for me to bump Emmy over the doorway, jostling her slightly. Hey, easy there. Whoops, sorry. It's about time that I fail to notice where I'm going and run Emmy's chair into a mat. She gives a startled yelp and topples forward out of her chair. There's a moment of silence as I gaze in horror upon what I've done, and Emmy glares at me. Hey, Sao? Yes? Promise me you'll never work at a hospital. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Emmy giggles and holds up a hand. Would you kindly help me back into my chair, Sao? As I bend down to pick up Emmy, she grins in triumph and pulls me into a kiss that quickly has both of us entirely unconcerned about getting her back into the chair. In fact, as I move to a more comfortable position, I confess that the chair is pushed out the door, which startled by the passage swing shut. You left the wheelchair out the shed? Oh, I get it. This is censored parts. Okay. So this is what they said about the Steam version being censored. Well, at least less effort from me. What happens now? Who's there? That's not how the joke goes at all. I already said who's there. More importantly, what time is it? Even more importantly, what day? I am suddenly catapulted into wakefulness by both the fact that the knocking still hasn't stopped and the fact that it's noon on a school day. Now fully awake, I can remember why I was napping. Better not give that excuse to Muro. I wonder how long this knocking is going to continue. Guess I ought to answer the door. I'm strangely unsurprised to see Kenji on the other side, though it appears that Kenji is surprised to see me. What the hell are you doing here, man? But I was sleeping. Kenji nods in understanding. Knocked out, I see. Can you? Really? I told you to be careful around that Ibarazaki chick, man. This is the sort of thing that happens when you're not cautious. He makes an attempt to look at the back of my head. Did she hit you or something? Or was it a drug? Stop trying to touch me. Kenji produces a flashlight and shines it in my eyes. You got a concussion? I wasn't knocked out. Maybe you just don't remember. This conversation isn't going anywhere. No, I just had a tiring morning and fell asleep. Whatever, man. If you want to be in denial about this, I guess I can't stop you. But you gotta watch out for that girl, man. She's not safe. What? She's not safe to be around. She's one of their most sinister agents. If you're not careful, there's no telling what can happen. She's brought down stronger men than you know. What the hell are you talking about? She's not an agent of anything, and she didn't knock me out, okay? I also highly doubt that she's brought down anyone at all. Kenji looks almost offended. I have no idea why. You don't believe me? That's cold, man. Real cold. I'm just trying to look out for you. That's what friends do, you know. We're friends? I had no idea. Then again, I wonder if Kenji knows what being a friend even entails. I feel something like pity for him, standing there before me. Maybe he does think he's looking out for me. I know. I'm sorry about that. Thanks for the warning. I hold out my hand as a sign of peace. Kenji shakes it gingerly, like my hand could possibly be on fire. There's an awkward silence for a few seconds before Kenji remembers he is still shaking my hand. Anyway, I need a favor. What kind of favor? I'm out of money. No, you aren't. You got money kept in your desk drawer under a black notebook for emergencies. Did you ransack my room? That's not important. I don't need money anyway. He adopts a very serious tone. I'm about to undertake a major op. It'll blow the whole conspiracy wide open if I'm right. But it's dangerous, so I need you to do something for me in case I don't come back. Sure, man, anything. What the hell is he planning on doing? Should I be telling someone about this? If I go missing, wait 3 days and then mail my journal off to the newspapers. It's hidden in my room under a false bottom in one of my desk drawers. How do I get in your room? I don't have a key. Kenji looks at me like I'm crazy. So pick the lock. You know how to do that, right? It's an important skill to learn at a young age. Yeah, of course I know how. I'll be sure to do that for you if you go missing. I don't think I want to read Kenji's journal. Either way, Kenji seems pretty happy that I've agreed to do this thing for him. Great, man, great. I'll see you around. I got stuff to do. And he's gone, dashing down the hallway. He made it seem so final. I hope I don't have to carry out his final wishes. Shaking my head, I close my door and walk back to my bed. Yes, I should go to class, if only to catch the last half of the day. But I've come this far without going to class today, and I didn't want to read more of that Hawking book Muro lent me. I'm sure he'll understand. This time the noise jerks my attention away from the book. An experience not unlike being woken up. Who's there? Me, aren't you glad? The voice is muffled through the door, but unmistakably Emmy's. I hop up and open the door, smiling broadly. Hey, nice to see you again. Emmy grins back, staring up at me from her wheelchair. Yeah, you would have seen me earlier, but the damned elevator wasn't working. Had to wait for them to fix it. You'd think they could keep it in better order, but no. I chuckle a bit at her vexed expression and invite her in. She wheels in easily, and with my help she hops onto my bed. There, much more comfortable than that stupid chair. A sigh of contentment hangs in the air, and for a minute we both just stare at one another. It's at that point that I notice the circles under Emmy's eyes. They're not that dark, but they definitely weren't there before. Before I can ask about them, Emmy fixes me with a mischievous stare. So I couldn't help but notice you weren't at lunch today. In fact, I don't think I saw you at all. What happened? Fell asleep. I actually didn't wake up until lunch, and only then because Kenji woke me up. Oh fuck. I have to edit here, fellas. Sorry, because I have to prepare for work. So this is Katawa Shoujo. God damn, it's so fucking good. This is Katawa Shoujo. If you want to try the game for yourself, the links are in the description. That is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.